And we are live from the Whiskey Baron Dance Hall and Saloon and want to talk to John Eddy. He is with us. Have you recovered since the last concert? You couldn't even get in here.
What we're looking at here is flannel mullein. Comes all the way from Eurasia, and you know, it looks like a weed here, but can actually serve to hold water in from charred ground.
And we want to congratulate Karen Scave.
Thank you. This is fabulous.
Wait a minute, tell me the French pronunciation of your last name.
Oh, that would be Escafé.
Well, and we've kind of got that going on right here with the help of Rocky Mountain Barbecue.
You'll find so many varieties across these 40 acres, like this Meat of Soul Pueblo chili, Spanish for facing the sun. All right, we're going to toss things back into you, and if you treat us right, you might get a little of this food. Scott Taylor.
Oh, please, you are my favorite meteorologist ever.
Hey, that's all it takes.
Boy, some days it's like the weather itself doesn't want to be forecast. And what do I mean by that? Well, it puts up nature's obstacles for us. For example, the winds the day of our launch were about 20 knots and picking up. And that's right at that critical criteria to where you can have a decent launch, or it could be a total forecast bust later on. But our next batch of some snow here in Teller County looks to be in here on Tuesday. You know, and we haven't talked about that in so long. It's
Right.
a little exciting for all of us in the weather department. We're all placing bets and putting chips on the
Exactly.
table.
Exciting for everybody in the newsroom, too.
So now you can get in and win yourself some tickets, and you don't even have to dance. Just remember the key word, howdy. All right, think back to Toy Story, howdy. And go to Fox 21 and register for that. And here's the cool thing. If you don't win those, we'll keep you registered for the next concerts coming up. Hey, John, thank you so much. I'm missing my class here, so I'm going to head over here. Come on with me.
We're going to kick.
Oh, here we go.
Point, kick,
Waiting for the music to start.
recover, half turn, triple. Kick and point, kick and point.
It's happening.
Okay.
It happened.
Yes.
We have proof that
Jeff Womack
is dancing.
You are the busiest man in news today.
Oh, no, I'm
Yeah.
just goofing off.
And then
with all this
interviewing
nice weather.
celebrities?
Yes,
Yeah.
indeed. I'm glad you reminded me. I did have the chance to meet up with Lanco. They had their first #1 with The Greatest Love Story. That's made them one of country music's greatest success stories, and they're playing to a sold-out crowd tonight in Denver.
So if you didn't get the chance to see them tonight, they will be back along with some of their friends like Turks Bentley, Miranda Lambert, or as I call her, the future Mrs. Jeff Womack.
Thank you.
They're all going to be at the Seven Peaks Music Festival Labor Day weekend in Buena Vista. Their recent #1, Greatest Love Story, has been striking a chord with all ages.
My wife is actually a teacher, and she says, you know, all her high schoolers are actually Lanco fans, which is funny because they didn't know that she was married to one of them until recently. She said they played it at prom, and everyone knew the words, and that's hilarious to me.
Here again, this is Food Truck Monday, your food truck forecast. We are inside, joined now by Hector Diaz. Welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm glad I got to be here.
And I love the name. All fans of I Love Lucy, of course, have got to love this. Can you give me a real quick, Lucy, what have you done?
Lucy, Lucy, I'm home. Is that what you want?
Close enough. Okay. Now, I want to talk to you about what we're about to eat here that we've been smelling all afternoon.
Okay, well, my daughter Elise is we're doing the Cuban sandwiches. And the Cuban sandwich is basically a Cuban bread. Cuban bread is hard to make at this altitude, so we kind of have a variation of it.
I was wondering about that.
Yeah, it's the high altitude doesn't allow it to rise correctly. But anyway, so yeah, we put mustard, we put Swiss cheese, ham, pickles, and then the main ingredient is the pork, which it's marinated and it's slow roasted overnight, and then we add it to the sandwich, and then put a little butter on the outside, and then we press it on the press and make it nice and crispy.
Something really magical seems to happen when it goes under the presser.
And doesn't it? Yeah. Yeah, I think that completes it there, basically. It's very, otherwise it's just a regular sandwich. The pork is basically what puts it all together, but then the pressing is really what makes it nice and crispy.
Tell me when you wanted to do this.
Well, I was born in Cuba, and I've always enjoyed the culture, and although I lived here, grew up here, I've always been interested in the food and the music and everything, and So when I retired, I decided, to share my knowledge of the Cuban cuisine and the culture, and to try to expose people here in this community to it. So.
And you've had the food truck how many years?
Well, I think we're like on our third or fourth year. Yeah, it's we started around mid-15 or late 14. So.
Well, congratulations on that. Now, where can people find you? You're going to be at Food Truck Tuesday, of course, but then where can they find you all summer long?
Well, Jeff, we do a lot of concerts in the park. Some of the communities around town have concerts in the park, and they provide music and food trucks. And then we do a lot of the breweries in town. And, of course, Food Truck Tuesday is something we're all looking forward to. The city is finally embracing the food truck community, and the people
really has.
Yeah, and it's kind of blossoming, and we're a little behind, but we're starting to really be welcomed by the people in the city. So
well, with good reason. If you smell one of these sandwiches, yeah, people are going to welcome you, of course. Real quick, give me your Facebook page.
It's under Lucy I'm Home Facebook, and we post our whereabouts every week where we're going to be, so check us out there and come and see us.
Excellent, Hector. It has been a pleasure. Thank you for coming by Food Truck Monday. We're going to sample some of this, and maybe we'll save some for Scott and Lauren. You think I should?
I've tried it before, so I want some of this. It's really good.
Oh, they've been waiting for it, so we will.
Good. All
guys,
right, thanks.
While we use many things to help get a handle on the atmosphere, this might be our most important. In fact, you could call it the backbone of data assembly. What am I talking about? The weather balloon launch. Let's take a look. It's a technology that's been around for centuries. First introduced by French meteorologists clear back to the 1800s, and later used to discover the differences in the lower troposphere and the stratosphere. The very same practice is still used today, worldwide, to provide vital forecast information.
At noon and midnight, Greenwich Mean Time, the 100 places in the United States and about 500 places around the world all launch weather balloons.
But before these balloons can take flight, close attention is paid to the way they are put together.
We can't touch the balloon with our hands, because they say that just the stuff on our hands will cause the balloon to burst early.
Next comes the helium. A parachute is then attached to our flying weather machine. As much as 100 feet of string is rolled out to make sure there's enough space between the balloon and radiosonde. The radiosonde is the actual instrument that sends back the atmospheric data. It also has to be handled with care.
Once the battery's connected, we're supposed to have the sondes are supposed to be on styrofoam or hanging.
Boy, some days it's like the weather itself doesn't want to be forecast. And what do I mean by that? Well, it puts up nature's obstacles for us. For example, the winds the day of our launch were about 20 knots and picking up. And that's right at that critical criteria to where you can have a decent launch, or it could be a total forecast bust later on.
We got crazy clouds today.
Even with the winds, the launch is still a go, as only lightning will actually cancel a flight. After a quick observation, the flight data is recorded so that any forecaster can trace the origin of this flight.
When it takes off, I've got to try and shoot the gap.
In no time, the balloon was as high as 10,000 feet. Before it bursts, it will rise to 100,000 feet, and its circumference will be the size of a two-car garage.
So we need to send the balloon up. Every second it's sending data back to the ground with the barometric pressure, the temperature, the humidity, and what the winds are doing, the wind direction, wind speed. So that we can see what's happening, not just at the surface, but up above.
Once balloons pop, they slowly descend and can land up to 100 miles away from the launch site. If one of these lands in your yard, they come with a return envelope and can be sent right back to the National Weather Service.
Imagine there's a farmer or a rancher somewhere out east of us that just must have thousands of these on his property.
After the data is collected, NOAA starts processing it and putting it into forecast models in as little as 2 hours for meteorologists all over the world to look at. One tool used is a little thing we call a skew T log P diagram, which digs into the vertical layers of the atmosphere. The balloon launches may seem archaic, but it's a method that has stood the test of time. With a little help from new technology, and it's likely not going away anytime soon.
I don't think they could do it any other way, especially as cheaply.
So how much? Well, the average cost for a lunch is only about a couple $100. Now, the data provided, it helps us make accurate forecasts. That data, I'm here to tell you, absolutely priceless. Scott, Lauren.